Verse 11 says that the prophets searched and inquired carefully, inquiring what person or time the Spirit of Christ in them was indicating. So that's what kept the prophets going, or rather, that's who kept the prophets going, the Spirit of Christ in them. These prophecies, they weren't the invention of the prophets or their best guess. No, they were revealed by the Spirit of Christ. They were revealed by the Holy Spirit sent from Jesus. Even in the Gospel of John, we see that this is the ministry of the Holy Spirit. He glorifies and calls attention to Jesus. As Jesus said in John 16:14, the Holy Spirit will glorify me, for he will take what is mine and declare it to you. And so just like the wind blows through the sails of a ship and keeps that boat moving forward, it was the Spirit of Christ in them who kept them going. The Holy Spirit enabled these prophets to pore over their own sermons and visions. The Holy Spirit kept them reading the scrolls of the other prophets who had gone before. The Holy Spirit was working through the prophets for you. And then again, if that didn't refresh their discouraged hearts enough, he adds how this same Spirit that inspired the prophets also empowered preachers of the gospel. Verse 12 says, "In the things that have now been announced to you through those who have preached the good news to you by the Holy Spirit sent from heaven." So even in those words, Peter, he's making a distinction between the prophets who anticipated the coming of the gospel, but then also those who actually proclaimed the gospel to his early readers. He wanted them to know that God sent more than Spirit-filled prophets to them. He sent Spirit-filled preachers too. From the early church all the way to today, God has built his church. How? By the proclamation of the gospel. Christian, the reason you and I have heard and received the gospel is because from generation to generation and from nation to nation, preachers have preached this good news by the power of the Holy Spirit. That's how God advances his kingdom.